Coming up this evening on Divine Mercy Prime, a 40-page document has emerged as proposals from majority of participants at the just ended Synod on Synodality in Rome. The document touches on varied facets of the Church's life. A recent transfer effected by His Lordship Michael Bibi has appointed some parish priests and religious to pick up new functions in the diocese, while others further their education. Master's degree students of Pan-African Institute for Development have successfully defended their dissertations this October 31st, 2023 year in Buea. And the population of Buea continues seeking ways in scaling up development in the municipality. They had a town hall meeting today with their mayor, Barrister David Mafani Namange. Those were the headlines for tonight's newscast. Their full readouts will be yours in a jiffy. The first phase of the Synod on Synodality, which ran for over 25 days, has finally come to an end with the emergence of a 40-page document highlighting the proposals arrived at after the consent of a two-thirds majority of the participants. Relationship between the Pope and the bishops, church as family, role of women in seminary formation, as well as bishops' role and economic responsibility of their particular churches were among the topics of discussion. While some committees have been set in place to follow up some key points in view of the next assembly that shall come in 2024, great hope there is, as most, if not all, confirms that it was a successful synod. Details and more in the following report. Participants at the Synod on Synodality met in Rome from October 4th till the 29th of October. That marked the end of the Synod on Synodality in Rome. The theme under focus or consideration was for a synodal church: communion, participation, and mission. At the end of this Synod on Synodality on 29th of October, a 40-page document or report did come out which focused on key and salient issues for further reflection in the next assembly. Some of the topics under consideration were the relationship between the Pope and bishops, exercise of authority, revision of the relationship between episcopal conferences and the conferences of the Institute of Consecrated Life, how they ought to be. Also, the Synod Fathers pointed out that candidates to the priesthood should be formed in a more synodal way. Likewise, increase of women in leadership positions should be taken into consideration. Likewise, they insisted on defining the responsibility of bishops in areas of exercising authority as well as economic management of the diocese. Further research on the ordination of women into the diaconate was requested. A commission was organized or put in place to further study the reality. Also, it was mentioned that there is need to study if it is necessary that the heads of the Vatican Curia to be ordained bishops. Discrimination against women was shunned, and training of the laity was further emphasized. And the laity as well as women, it was said that they could be involved in the process of priesthood formation. The 40-page report on the Synod on Synodality was indeed a marvelous one, which had as majority two-thirds of the consent of those who participated before it was penned down. Topics equally like ecumenism, role of permanent deacons, the need to foster a church that blames less and welcomes more was further emphasized. Regarding the complexity of certain topics, whether women can be ordained deacons, 20% voted against, others voted for. The assembly, however, ended saying further research is to be continued in that light. Priestly celibacy was equally treated, and the purpose of this synod or this 40-page document or report is to foster further reflection in view of the next assembly. One of the participants, who is a cardinal, did bear testimony to the fact that all the points therein came as a result of a two-thirds majority. With the end of such a synod, there is hope for the church, as the church will further move together as a family, not only viewed from the point of view of being hierarchical, but equally communion, a journey together, a synodal church where everyone is involved in communion, participation, and on mission to evangelize. While the people await the next assembly that will come up in 2024, hands remains joined together, and everyone on their knees praying for a fruitful synod and synodality, so as to enhance a better church, a church that is out to evangelize, not in isolation, but in communion. For when we move together, we go further, but when we move alone, we simply go faster. Back to the Diocese of Boya, where the local ordinary, His Lordship Michael Bibi, has assigned some priests and religious to take up responsibilities in some parishes and institutions of the diocese, while others go back to further their education. This is contained in a recent communique from the prelates. Our newsroom editor, Jude Mbaku, now tells us more or gives us a full reading of that document.
October 27, 2023, to all clergy, all members of the Institute of Consecrated Life, all societies of apostolic life, all lay faithful, Diocese of Boya, transfers and appointments. May God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ, in communion with the Holy Spirit, give you grace and peace. I write to communicate to you the following transfers and appointments in the Diocese of Boya. Father Jean Lambert Batamak, from Our Lady of Lourdes Parish Gardens to Our Lady of Lourdes Parish Gardens as acting parish priest. Father Alphonse Ekema, from St. Therese of the Child Jesus Mekongi to St. Anthony of Padua Parish Boya Town as acting parish priest. Father Alphonse Wongibe, from St. Charles Luanga Parish Moliko Boya to St. Martin de Porres Parish Bokwango as acting parish priest. Father Kenneth Mbinka goes to St. Therese of the Child Jesus Mekongi, Supply. Father Florentin Awamo goes to All Saint Parish Motengene as Supply. Father Augustine Anuchem goes to St. Cornelius Parish, Boduma as Supply. For the Directorate of Communication, Father Roderick Jansen goes to Cameroon Panorama as the Editor-in-Chief. School, Reverend Sister Otia Bivera goes to St. Pius X Technical College as Principal. Reverend Sister Emanuela Chiamaka goes to St. Pius X Technical College as Matron. Pastoral Center, Reverend Sister Emilia Etoni Eposi goes to Bishop Pius Our Memorial Pastoral Center as the Administrator. Reverend Sister Paulina Afo goes to Bishop Our Memorial Pastoral Center. Further studies, Father Emil Tabi Tanka from St. Anthony of Padua Parish Boya Town goes to Law School, Banjul, the Gambia for studies. Father Stephen Berenue from St. Martin de Porres Parish Bokwango to Law School, Banjul, the Gambia for studies. Father Alphonse Wongibe goes to the Catholic University Institute of Boya, Journalism and Mass Communication for studies. Father Alphonse Ekema goes to CUIB School of Journalism and Mass Communication for studies. Father Martin J goes to CUIB School of Journalism and Mass Communication for studies. Father Roderick Yangsi goes to CUIB School of Journalism and Mass Communication for studies. Father Cletus Aka goes to CUIB School of Journalism and Mass Communication for studies. These transfers will take effect from Wednesday, 1st November 2023 as from midday. Yours in his service, Michael Miabeswe Bibi, Bishop of Boya.
The Bishop of the Diocese of Boya, His Lordship Michael Bibi, has called on all Christ's lay faithful to live a life of prayer freed from all distractions. The Bishop notes that self-discipline is instrumental and necessary when it comes to prayer, which could be done vocally, meditatively, as well as contemplatively. The Chief Shepherd made a call to all lay faithful in the course of his weekly televised catechesis at the St. Charles Luanga Parish, Moliko Boya. Details and more in this report by Father Martin J.
All along, the Bishop of Boya, His Lordship Michael Bibi, has been treating the fourth part of the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which deals with Christian prayer. In today's teachings, the prelate focused on the third chapter of the first section of the fourth part of the Catechism of the Catholic Church, captioned The Life of Prayer. He highlighted that there are three ways in which we can express our prayers, that is, vocal prayer, meditation, and contemplative prayer. Irrespective of the way we express our prayer, be it vocally, meditatively, or contemplatively, prayer should spring from the heart.
When we are talking about vocal prayer, what do we mean? we mean the prayers that we bring out with our mouth, the prayers that come out of our mouth following the traditional times that the church has set for us. Meditation means that search, that quest that we have in our hearts to understand our Christian life and to understand God in a better way so that we can be able to have faith in Him. Contemplation, therefore, means taking time frequently to be alone with a person who loves you. Taking time frequently to be alone with a person that you love. And that person is no other person but Jesus Christ, and by implication, the mystery of the Most Holy Trinity. The three.
We ought to prepare ourselves in order to pray, and one of the things to avoid in the life of prayer is postponement of our prayers. The Chief Shepherd called on vigilance on the part of all, together with discipline of oneself when it concerns prayer. He noted that distractions should not derail us from remaining constant and fervent in prayer. He emphasized the fact that doubts should not be entertained completely by persons when they engage themselves in prayer, but they should all trust in God. When you pray, trust in God and you will easily cope with all challenges. The bishop rounded up by noting that the church invites the faithful to regular prayer, daily prayers, the liturgy of the hours, Sunday Eucharist, the feast of the liturgical year, and many others. Participation on the side of the audience was very engaging as usual, with a series of questions posed to the Lord Bishop for clarification purposes. The Bishop gave appropriate responses to the questions, and some of the faithful followers gave their impressions with regard to the Bishop's teachings today.
I participated in the catechism. What touched me personally was the aspect of perseverance in the faith. The Bishop advised us to have faith when we pray.
As a Christian, we should meditate with God, and we should always make time for ourselves to talk with God, and we should not relent our efforts to pray every day, morning, afternoon, evening.
The audience hopes to meet the Bishop next Monday for yet another interesting edition on the Catechism of the Catholic Church.
Members of the Block Rosary Apostolate of having employed by the Bishop of the Diocese of Kumba, the Right Reverend Agapitus Fon, to continue praying the Rosary so as to benefit from its graces. The call was made in the context of the celebration of the Golden Jubilee of that prayer and action group on Saturday, October 28, 2023. This took place at St. John the Evangelist Parish in Kumba. Joseph Otop has details in the following report.
It was in 1973 when Onion Biora initiated the Block Rosary Crusade in Cameroon after the message of Our Lady of Fatima in 1935 to 3 shepherd children for Christians to pray the Rosary and for the conversion of sinners. 50 years down the lane, this prayer and action group has grown in leaps and bounds and stands tall in many areas of service to spread the message of Fatima. The impact the group has created over the years is testament to the number of people who thronged the St. John the Evangelist Parish, Kumba Town, to join the members of the Block Rosary Crusade to celebrate their Golden Jubilee. Presiding at this Mass, His Lordship Agapitus Fon, Bishop of the Diocese of Kumba, called on all to continue praying the Rosary and follow its graces. For 5 decades, members of the group have remained true to the spirit of their aim and objectives, which is pegged on the motto prayer and sacrifice. Having this motto, the group have been striving to promote its effort through educational programs, including publication of newsletters, as well as publication of various tracts and booklets, advocating use of the rosary, and advancing participation in the program called Block Rosary Crusade, which stresses on neighborhood prayer. However, as this group fed 50 years, the interim president outlines the achievement this group has had so far.
Yes, I can start with numbers. Yeah, we have really grown as regards to numbers of dioceses that have Block Rosary members or groups. For example, take Kumba Diocese, is the seat of Block Rosary Crusade. If you watch out there, you see that there are so many Block Rosarians from Kumba Diocese. If we move to other dioceses, you discover that the group has grown a lot. So that's one of the achievements. And members have learned how to live in society because we try to imitate the virtues of Mary. For example, humility, truthfulness, obedience, and all the like. So most members have inculcated these virtues. They are different from members who are not Block Rosary members or other Christians. If you come across them, except a few that will find some vices with them, but most members are so committed in the group that they behave differently from others in the society.
But what are the counts?
I personally, as a businessman, I can't count how many times I've had a lot of graces. Like I have been favored beyond my own understanding as a businessman. I say this because every morning I pray my rosary when I get to my shop, and even in the hard times, our Mother Mary intervenes for me.
Block Rosary therefore seeks to achieve a unity of mind and soul in the oneness of Christ, which will eventually bring to fulfillment the promise of Our Lady of Fatima, that in the end, her Immaculate Heart will triumph, Russia will be converted, and an era of peace will be given to the world.
Moleko Dinari Youth Council has conducted a free and fair elections to put in place those who are going to lead them or the youth movement of that Dinari for the next 2 years. The elections took place yesterday, October 30th, at the St. Charles Lwanga Parish Hall, Moleko Boya, with representatives from the various parishes that make up that Dinari. Nadesh was present and now reports.
Youth from the 5 parishes that make up the Moleko Dinari Youth Council gathered at St. Charles Lwanga Parish Hall in Moleko for their Dinari Exco election. This in the presence of their diocesan executive to ensure a free and fair election. Talking with the diocesan public relation officer on the nature of the election, she elaborates on the criteria for the election while encouraging the newly elected to seek God first in carrying out these leadership tasks.
3 years, a broad knowledge of the youth ministry. You should possess a membership card for them, and prayer and which is that they should put in their all. Serving God as a youth is very, very enjoyable.
The newly elected president of the Moleko Dinari Youth Council outlines some key aspects he would like his team to look into as they take off.
Mission is not only based in the church milieu, but to bring more youth into the federation and impact them with skills and with moral upbringing, like spirituality.
Those present during this event equally expressed how excited they are and how they are going to make sure there is an effective and efficient dissemination of information in the Dinari.
Very happy to be a part of the ESCOs that are going to make our Dinari to higher heights. I am equally going to work hand in hand with the executives to ensure that there is an effective and efficient dissemination of information in the Dinari and parishes.
We are going to try this time around to make sure that we do our best alongside with the executive, the youth chaplains, and why not those who don't have chaplains to work with the parish priest in order for us to put some order in the deanery.
Representative from St. Charles Luanga Parish, Moliko, Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral Parish, St. Cornelius Parish, Bunduma, St. Michel Bitingi, and St. Peter and Paul Parish, University of Buea, which all make up Moliko Deanery, participated in the election, giving their contribution for the growth of the youth ministry in this area.
In education, some students of the Pan-African Institute for Development in Buea have been awarded a master's degree after successfully defending their dissertation on socioeconomic issues, with some scoring excellently in the oral presentation, which happens on Tuesday, 31st of October 2023 at the premise in that institution. Laura Asongani was present at the master's defense and reports more in the following report.
After studying and doing research for 2 years, it was time for some master students of the Pan-African Institute for Development West Africa in Buea to showcase their research and knowledge for the examining committee of the institution to ensure that the thesis meets the standards of the field of study. This thesis defense exercise, witnessed by loved ones of the defendants and the supervisors of the students, is divided into 3 phases, which includes the 10 to 15 minute oral defense by the students, the evaluation and meticulous scrutiny of the defendant's research, and the grading or scoring of the project. Tension was the emotion that clouded the various defense halls as the 3 phases went on. At the end of the day, many emerged with good grades, as some give reasons for their research topics, expatiating on the challenges faced in the course of the study.
The title of my thesis is an analysis of the impact of crude oil exploitation in Nkondo Titi, Southwest Division. It was peculiarly difficult because of the ongoing conflict. The exploitation sites were not really reachable to me, and I had to do what I had to do to get the information I had. The jury decided to award me A+, and I feel happy.
My thesis was on international migrations of youth from the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon between the period of 2017 to 2022, the challenges and the prospects. What pricked me to carry out the research on this topic is because with the current crisis we are having now in the Anglophone regions, we have a mass exodus where we have youths living away from the country. So despite the challenges which we have been watching on television, where we see youths drowning in the oceans, we see the frustrations they go through in the desert and the risks which they have to take to go through the forest to arrive at their destinations. Despite these challenges, they are still willing to embark on this journey. So it led me to carry out this research as to find out what is really pushing them away from the 2 regions to embark on such journey. It was really challenging because I had to do the work on the field. Like I had to go to Bamenda, I had to move to Mamfe, I had to go to Kambe, and we see that with the current crisis, it's not easy to bring people together, and in terms of finances as well, that was a big challenge aspect because to finance the trip, it was solo. Really happy with the grades I got because I had an A+.
I was here today to defend my master's thesis, the topic of an assessment of accounting information system on the operational performance of bakeries in Buea. The issue is that many organizations, they don't use accounting information system efficiently. So with the use accounting information efficiently, the operational performance will greatly improve. I was awarded with a grade A.
Family members also say the students were deserving of their grades.
She deserves it, and that's what I even told her out there when we were waiting for the deliberations. I told her that go and take an A. She struggles with work, school, all of that. It's not easy. It has never been easy for her.
The defense is set to continue tomorrow, the 1st of November, as more students would be given the opportunity to present their thesis study in order to be awarded with the master's degree.
The population of Buea has been urged by the Lord Mayor Barrister David Mafani Namange to work for peace. This was during a town hall meeting session that took place today, October 31st, 2023, at the Buea Council Hall, during which representatives were made on some of the projects that were carried out from the year 2021 to 2023 by that council. Sharon Sita attended the meeting and gives us the following report.
At the Boya Council Hall, councillors, traditional leaders, and members of the community are meeting to strategize on improving the Boya municipality. During this session, some key issues were brought to the attention of the mayor of Boya, David Mafani Namange. Mayor Mafani, on his part, revealed that they are seeking alternative solutions to curb the water crisis issue in most parts of Boya. He says the council has a debt of about 1.5 billion out of 3 billion francs CFA with Cam Water, which is still to be settled.
That of water, that's what all of that I put under developmental. As I said, it's becoming increasingly difficult for the Boya Council. It's the debt situation of 1.5 billion out of 3 billion owed by all the councils to Cam Water. So we have to seek for alternative sources of water supply. That's why we have already started in the past years. We have done the Musaka water supply that goes through Ewele to Musaka. We have done the Nyangamele that supplies with villages of Boya Town. We are finalizing the Sase water project that will supply the Bojongo area. And we have done boreholes in Moliko, Great Soko, both native and what they call Lokombo and Campaign Street area. We have done other boreholes and we are finalizing some in the hills. We will be finalizing some in Munia, Great Soko, and Malingo Tag this time around.
He equally stressed on the issue of non-functional street lights in the municipality of Boya, while promising to look into the issue.
We are working with Light Up Fako, which is headed by an elite, Dr. Mulu Abeke. In the days ahead, we'll start putting some solar street lighting where they might not be the number we want, but we'll start from somewhere. And since it's a win-win partnership, we expect people to come on board to contribute, and we do that for the common good of the population.
As concerning natural disasters like floods, landslides, and sanitary state of Boya was addressed during the meeting. A lot is yet to be done. Quinta Yuchi, a civil society actor, uses this opportunity to call on council authorities to sensitize the population on climate change so as to mitigate the reoccurrence of disasters.
All these disasters was not addressed adequately, I should say, and so I think that the council should consider mainstreaming climate action in their programming. It is very important. They need to sensitize the community about what is climate change. So many people don't understand what is climate change. They need to sensitize the people about the risks that are associated with climate change. And these risks, we've seen the manifestations of flash floods, of landslides in our communities, and with continuous climate crisis, the risks are increasing, and there is need for us to have a local disaster management plan in effect to ensure that we can reduce the impact in case of a disaster in the future.
The meeting wrapped up with the mayor of the Boya municipality urging the population to work for peace, because without peace, there will be no meaningful development achieved in Boya.
On our foreign page, Kenya's president has declared a visa-free entry for all Africans by the end of this year. President William Ruto made this groundbreaking declaration during his keynote address at the Basin Climate Change Conference in Brazzaville, Congo. Meanwhile, Nigerian presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has responded to the court's ruling, which failed in an attempt to get the February elections results overturned in the Supreme Court last week. And at least 2 people have been injured in a shooting at the hospital in the central Japanese city today. Details of these stories on our international lines with Gillian Tata Yenla.
In a significant move to enhance economic collaboration and trade within Africa,
Kenyan President William Ruto has announced plans to abolish visa requirements for all African visitors by the end of 2023. At the Climate Change Conference in Brazzaville, Congo, President Ruto stated that it is time the continent realize that having visa restrictions among ourselves is working against them. This proposal is also to reduce tariffs across Africa and accelerate the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Era. This landmark decision reflects Kenya's dedication to promote regional integration, economic cooperation, and free movement of people, goods, and ideas within the African continent, fostering a new era of Pan-African cooperation and union. In Nigeria, since the end of military rule in 1999, the last Nigerian election was the most fiercely contested within 3 strong candidates for the first time. Bola Tinubu won with 37% of votes cast against 29% for Mr. Atiku Abubakar and 25% for Peter Obi, who also challenged the results. In his first comment, since the panel of 7 judges rejected his attempt to get what he said was new evidence submitted, Atiku says there is really no hope for the country's democracy and electoral politics. President Tinubu on his part says the court has done justice to all issues put up for consideration without fear or favor. To him, there is no doubt that the judgment of electoral jurisprudence and constitutional democracy are further consolidated. And out of Africa, 2 women in their 20s and 30s taken hostage inside a post office in the Japanese city of Warabi, and 2 others wounded at the entrance of the post office near the Todacho General Hospital. The suspect is believed to be in the age range of 50 to 70, and the motive behind the shooting is still unknown. The 2 wounded people have been identified as a doctor and an elderly patient. Tokyo police have dispatched officers from a special investigations team that handles hostage situations